Hello, welcome back to you all in the second part of this series. As we have already discussed in the first part of this series about Old English, Middle English period and the Renaissance period already. You can check out its link in the description box. So, in that part, we have already discussed about father of English poetry, father of English drama and their contemporary authors of Elizabethan age. Now we shall know about the father of other literary genres and other important authors in this video regarding the neoclassical period. So let's start. We will start with the father of English essays, Francis Bacon. It was not encyclopedic range of his essays that he is regarded as the father of English essays. Rather, it is a simple, flexible and aphoristic style that his still remains unsurpassed like Shakespeare. Though he was a lover of Latin, he proved that essay like poetry can convey the subtlest thoughts in the closely packed and striking formulas loaded with practical wisdom. So, this was you can say his aphoristic style. Do you understand? I am telling it again to you. In aphoristic style, actually a compact sentence contains the fewest possible words but has the deep meaning, maximum meaning. Next, he is called the father of empiricism because he argued for the possibility of scientific knowledge that is based only upon inductive reasoning and careful observation of events in nature. This was the reason. Alexander Pope, the representative poet of 18th century, commented in his essay on men that Bacon is the wisest, brightest and meanest of mankind. So you can understand easily that he was the wisest because of his worldly wisdom, brightest for his multi-talented personality. You know, he was learned in Greek, French, Latin, English, science, philosophy, classics and many other fields of knowledge. So multi-talented personality he was. Now it appears to be an irony of nature that a man with such a tremendous intellect had such a mean character. Actually, the manner in which he betrayed his friends, especially Essex, proved him the most ungrateful and ignoble man. And besides it, his letters of flattery to the king and queen, his political involvement, his marriage at the age of 45 to a 14 years old girl. All these bizarre occurrences proved that emotions were subordinated to success for him. And this was the reason that Pope referred to him as the meanest also. Then we'll discuss about John Donne. John Donne has been called the monarch of wit because of his intellectual vigor and force, and it comes naturally from his wide knowledge and deep scholarship. T.S. Eliot finds his wit in the fusion of opposites, the blend of thought and feeling both. So he calls it the sensuous apprehensions of thought. He was the founder of metaphysical school of poetry. That's why he is called the metaphysical poet. Here you should know about what is metaphysical poetry. It should be clarified to you. These poems are highly intellectualized, use rather strange imagery, use frequent paradox and contains extremely complicated thought. And Donne was dexterous in it. His poetry attempts to go beyond human sensibility and traditional verse into realm of conceptual thinking. So because of having all these qualities, he is called the metaphysical poet. He is also known as the love poet. In fact, as a love poet, he tries to establish the union of the flesh and the soul. His love poems actually are universal in nature. That's why, because of his overwhelming expression of feelings and different philosophy of love, he is the best metaphysical love poet ever witnessed in the history of English literature.
Now, after 16th century, we move towards 17th century, that is divided into two periods, the Puritan age, which is also known as the Age of Milton, And the Restoration period, that is the age of Dryden. At first we talk about the Puritan age. Why is it called Puritan? Because of the Puritan movement. And who were Puritans? Who believed in pure Christianity, religious and political idealism. Milton also believed in the authority of the Bible and opposed many customs of the Church of England at that time. That's why Milton is also called a Puritan. At the age of 44, he became totally blind, so he is famous as the blind poet of England. His epic, Paradise Lost, is one of the most recognized works in English literature. It consists of 12 books and more than 10,000 lines of verse. This is the reason that he is known as the epic poet and the great master of verse. Next title, The Lady of the Christ College, was attached with him when at the age of 16, Milton entered Christ College of Cambridge. Actually, this young man failed to find either the level of scholarship or the intimate companions as he had been hoping for. So his lack of maturity and maybe his feminine appearance were the reasons that he was known as the Lady of the Christ College. Now, why is called the poet of the Devil's Party without knowing it, as uttered by William Black? Actually, in his epic poem Paradise Lost, Milton unconsciously glorified the character of Satan and wrote at liberty while describing devils and hell. As a true poet, it was required to make Satan hero, but his intention was to reveal that mere appearance is not enough and one should not be deceived by the dazzle in which evil clothes itself. Then he is referred to as the poetical son of Spenser. The reason behind it is that just as Spenser blended the ideals and principles of Renaissance and Reformation both in his literary works, in the same way, Milton harmonized the version of Puritanism and Renaissance spirit in his poetical works. So because of this adoption and similarity, he is regarded as Spenser's poetic son. Another phrase for his poetic style, his grand style, which is also called as Miltonic style and epic style. Matthew Arnold, in his Oxford lecture on translating Homer last words, used this famous phrase for ancient epic writers. Homer in Greek, Dante in Latin, and Milton in English are known as the masters of grand style. Grand style includes sustained and lofty style, sublimity, and eloquence suitable for the epic particularly. Now let's move to the man of versatile talent, John Dryden. He belongs to Restoration period. The term Restoration comes from the crowning of Charles II. Philosophically, Restoration was the period of enlightenment of reason and logic. The credit of being the first poet laureate goes to John Dryden in 1668 by Charles II. Samuel Johnson honored him by saying him the father of English criticism because with him a new era of criticism began. In fact, he was the first to teach the English people to determine the merit of composition upon principles. He is also known for critical essays because of the development of the art literary criticism in his essays. And on account of his glorious achievement, Walter Scott addressed him as Glorious John. Now we will start to discuss some important literary persons of 18th century. Firstly, we take Alexander Pope, who is famous as a representative poet of 18th century. Actually, the poet whose intention lies in presenting the realistic experiences and fact of his own age through his works is called representative poet. Pope also believes in literature is the mirror of society, and his works reflects the trends of contemporary society, so he is regarded as the representative poet of 18th century. He is also called the father of neoclassical rationalistic aesthetics because of artistic manifestations of aesthetic and cultural ideas. He earned another nickname, the wicked wasp of Twickenham, due to his stinging satirical attacks on his fellow writers. This was the reason that he was labeled as the most notorious hunchback of the 18th century and a humpback toad also by the same contemporary writers whom he, note this point, these titles were given by the same contemporary writers whom he satirized in his writings. Actually, what was the reason behind it being so too much stinging style or satirical style? Actually, his height was only 4 feet 6 inches due to the tuberculosis in his spine. So his physical disabilities were not only a defining feature of his public persona, but also influenced both the style and content of his writing. Another important figure of this age was Samuel Johnson, who is also known as Dr. Johnson. Why is he called doctor? Actually, after publishing his famous Dictionary of the English Language in 1775, he was given doctorate. That's why he is often called Dr. Johnson. And for this grand achievement, Smollett called him the great charm of literature. So this was all for this session. See you in the next part, means third part, with another interesting as well as important facts of other literary personas of romantic age and so on. Till then, learn all these points by heart. Thank you.